this session.
Second.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
all in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
Aye.
the session is opened. So it's still
But
in
no
discussion.
John, no John?
John is not on the call.
Okay,
Now we need a motion about this resolution.
Well, there is a resolution already in new business for the record that was drafted a few weeks ago from from Mr. Choi. He is a doctor at JD. It was permitting our schools to conduct virtual instruction. Although we don't have a remote learning policy, we were forced to have one put in place where one-to-one instruction with parental consent was authorized. So we just need a formal approval of that. I will tell you that there were some parents who did object to their children, similar to the format we are in right now. They did not want live stream of their children with the classroom teachers, and we are honoring that request and providing alternative educational measures.
Good.
So that was the resolution that Ms. Montemuro shared with you all.
Okay.
So we're doing two resolutions right now, one for the budget and one for this other matter.
That is correct.
Okay. So I'll move on the other matter, resolution that was already brought up.
Right, let's throw it up. So,
Okay, so I'll move on that one.
Oh, second.
wait, which one are you moving on, Tom?
On the
Diane.
instruction.
The virtual learning.
Virtual
Okay.
learning, live streaming. Ms.
Yeah.
Dr. Matarazzo moved, and it looks like Mr. Barnabas Wu was second.
Okay,
any discussion about it?
No, I just that it's a very challenging thing to do for both the students and the faculty, and I applaud them all. I think that's phenomenal what they did.
Yeah, I agree. But then also, I would like to make a comment for those parents who did not want the virtual video lecture for their kids. You know, I'm sorry that probably, you know, there must be some reason. And I wish we could provide, you know, as good as the virtual class
Sure.
education to these kids as well, you know?
All right. Just before you go to a roll call on that, Ms. Jang, I think one of the most important pieces, and I've seen it with my own children, the social interaction and to be able to see their peers, their classmates. When the teacher gets to see the children, it's such a joyous moment. But then when the kids get to see each other, similar to how board members felt when they first joined the call this evening, it is a different style of meeting and greeting with one another, but it is, in all fairness, what is the safest method right now.
Yes, okay. So, roll call, please.
Stephanie Jang,
Yes.
Thomas Matarazzo,
Yes.
Jason Kim,
Yes.
Rebecca Lee,
Yes.
John Matisich is still not present?
He is not.
No?
No.
Okay, Yoon Min,
Yes.
Barnabas Wu,
Yes.
Jeffrey Wu,
Yes.
Timothy Yang.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, then, we're discussing the next matter, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
We need a motion on the approval of the 2020-2021 budget that was submitted and approved at the county office.
Right, so, anybody
Excuse me,
want to?
Dr. Cirillo,
Yes,
did you
I'm
call,
sorry.
did you call John on his phone? Don't you, this
I did.
is kind of important. You want to wait for him or what?
We can, I called him, I actually gave him the phone number and the PIN number again to join us, and I get to hear that he's joining us.
Let's join.
We can discuss it further before there's a vote, is that right, Mr. Choi?
Yes, we can, but
First, you have to make someone has to make the resolution.
Good point.
exactly.
Good point. John did say in the text that he was joining. Let me call him and see.
Okay, all right.
I'll call him.
Hello?
Mr. Matisich, are you able to join us?
I'm on here. I hear you guys perfect, but I don't know why I can't be heard.
Okay, so maybe it's your mute button. Are you on mute?
No, I'm taking it.
Hold on. Everyone can hear you.
Let him do it that way, with the phone.
Is that okay, Mr. Choi?
Well, that's what I'm doing. I've been doing it all along with the phone.
Yes, that's fine.
Sure,
When
okay,
you
so
stay on this way, it sounds like everyone can hear you, so I'm gonna keep my cell phone, close to the audio on the computer.
All right.
You
Because
got-
it was only, there was nothing changed from before.
Okay, John, just so you know, the board did move on the first,
I heard it. Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Montanaro, let the record show that Mr. Matersich did vote negatively on the live streaming instruction.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, actually, Dr. Thomas Matarazzo made a motion, and any second?
Second. Leon?
Is it a motion to approve or deny?
I didn't make a motion on it. No, I didn't make a motion. I made a motion on the last one about virtual learning. I did not move on this.
Virtual learning.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
no,
did not
virtual
move.
learning.
You mean virtual learning?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
This next one, I did not make a motion on.
I see, okay,
I ask
so,
the board to consider a motion for approval or denial on the budget as was submitted on March 18th to the board and approved tentatively. That is the only vote at this point.
right, we have to, since it is, yeah, I think, Ben, please say it.
Yes, technically, the motion would be whether to approve the proposed budget.
Right, that's what I thought, yes.
So who would move on that?
A board member.
On that.
John Matison
Anyone?
made a motion.
I
John
move on.
Madison. All right.
Okay, any second? Anybody second it?
Second.
Okay,
Jason.
so, we have enough, discussion, but is there any more discussion? Okay, then roll call, please.
Stephanie Jang.
No.
Thomas Matarazzo.
No.
Jason Kim.
No, we need to cut more.
All right. All right. Rebecca Lee.
No, at the moment.
John Matisich.
Yes.
Yoon Min.
No.
Barnabas Wu.
No.
Jeffrey Wu.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to vote no too.
Timothy Yang.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Before we put a finality to the vote, and I might be out of order here, my understanding and my advice was that we needed to discuss on the event that this does not pass, proposed areas to take away from the budget. Angela,
Yes.
and there was a recommendation by the business administrator and Dr. Cirillo as to those areas, right?
That's correct.
Dr. Cirillo, can we put that back up on the slide so that the board has the benefit of that view?
Sure. So at this point, the tentative budget, the proposal with the enrollment adjustment aid has been defeated. So what I'm going to share at this point is, hold on, Mr. Matisich is trying to join FaceTime. John, I'm going to put you this way. Hopefully you can see everyone.
I can see it.
Hi, John.
So what I'm going to do is pull up the second set of slides with, I think there were 4 images. Hold on.
Dr. Cirillo, I don't know. Oh, perfect.
Can you see it now, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here, and John, I'm going to show you for the edification. Can you see that, John?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Angela, if you don't mind, can you review these slides again, one at a time?
Sure. Okay, so the slide that's up right now, what we're looking at is the proposed budget with and without the adjustment. With the adjustment, it's 800, and with the there's actually the 2%, there's 2% on the $813,000. So the difference between the proposed budget with and without works out to be $829,000. So our proposed budget that was just defeated, that would have been a tax levy of about 5.5%. The proposed budget without the adjustment, if that's where we want to go if that's where the board would like to go, from $800,000 down to zero, would be 2%, capped at 2%.
Good.
But that, and we've said it, that decrease in revenue is going to come at a cost to the district. And that's, that's up for discussion here, but, Dr. Cirillo, if you want to go to the next slide, we can go to, some of the proposed areas where the decrease can be made to offset that $829,000 of revenue.
This one,
So
over
broadly-
there, Angela.
Oh, well, this one's fine. We can start here.
Yeah.
So just proposed changes to offset a decrease in revenue of $829,000 is a decrease in instruction, which is roughly 40% of the $829,000, and 60,000 60% in support services. We did take a closer look and what areas within instruction and support services would be affected. And we know it'll come as a cost in our workforce. It'll come as a cost to our operations and maintenance, and a very small piece to the other administrative type services, other purchase services. This is just reflective of the budget breakdown, which showed that the bulk of our expenses is salary, it is benefits, it is operations and maintenance.
Right, thank
So
you.
what we can do, I'm gonna leave this screen and then just chime in for a minute and come back to the other one if you don't mind. What we can do at this point, because what was shared with all the board members on Monday was the proposed budget that was just defeated.
That's correct.
And we did not share with you worst case scenario, not knowing what direction we would go in. We do need to have a discussion here. I will tell you wholeheartedly, that conversation started months ago with the school level administrators, with some board members, and Dr. Matarazzo, for the record, we've had those discussions since July again.
Yes.
With all of that being said, taking into account what the advice of our attorney is, to budget appropriately and sound, there will be potential, and not potential at this point, there will be a reduction in force in multiple areas. That is not just my recommendation. That is something that has been discussed with the schools, respectively, the administrative staff. There is also an opportunity to potentially go to the mayor and speak to them about, is there any other service? We do have security in our buildings. Is that something that the borough would consider? And that can save a position or two. Those are all things at this point that are fair game, open for discussion.
Sure. Good idea.
Okay, right, so that's what's gonna go from now on.
So again, for the record, just so we know, tomorrow, Angela has to submit the defeated proposed budget. The county is going to reopen that. And before any changes are potentially made, they would want to know the discussion that was had this evening. And again, it doesn't have to and will not speak to any person, respectively, nor position, but there will be positions impacted.
That's correct. What I would need to go back to the county with tomorrow morning is, one, to request that they reopen the budget software, And then as we had spoken about it, and it was outlined in one of the very first slides we looked at this evening, I need to provide them with an extract of what was discussed and what areas of the budget will be changing.
Good. Okay.
And that's just, and then we wait for their approval
Right.
again, and then that would be, and if Dr. Cirillo can go back, what the budget, what the resolution would look like is that second slide earlier, which shows the tax levy would be 24,479,000.
Right.
All right. And I hope that by doing this, all of our board members get to have a closer look and go through the budget that we've received through email, that we can pay close attention. And, actually, COVID-19 affected in many, many different areas for people and for operations and even for our schools. And I'm so sorry for that. But at the current situation, I think all of us have a very good understanding over how the actual day-to-day situation is going nowadays. And also, I heard that sometimes the teachers help each other, and when time is difficult, that we can just have a tighter bond. And I hope that everything will work out. We are all living in a much tighter land now. So.
And we will get a copy of all the cuts.
So respectively, any that are related, those employees would have to be noticed before we discuss them. But keep in mind, May 15th has always been, or the Friday preceding that, the day that any and all non-tenure teachers are told of their right to return as an employee for the following year. So
Sure.
clearly, this vote tonight will impact some non-tenure teachers. I would also venture to say this could impact secretarial and or custodial staff. There are multiple facets to what 800,000 equates to. Class size, we have to be very cognizant. I know Mr. Matisich spoke to increased students in our buildings, and clearly we can't just continue to overcrowd our classrooms, but we have to look at non-instructional personnel potentially going into classrooms. We have looked at it, but now that's got to be a much deeper discussion with the administrative staff.
And we'll get a copy of that before the next meeting,
A copy of what, Tom?
about the cuts that you're going to be making, whether it's going to be with textbooks, whether it's going to be with.
It's going to be an idea reflective of what the proposed slide showed you tonight.
And I think we discussed in July, like you were saying, we discussed different areas that we may have to tighten our belt way back then. So I'd like to see that. That'd be great.
Again, I unfortunately, though, for the record, I cannot share with you the personnel that may be affected by this.
Well, as personnel chairman, can I see the area then?
Well, we can discuss it. I don't know that I can give you the.
Right, I don't have to know names.
Correct, that's fine.
I believe, I think we sat down and I believe you said you were gonna ask Angela. Remember I said if you could ask her areas, and you said, yes, we already have one.
We have it. I have it. It's ready. It's been ready. Prior to the enrollment adjustment aid, we thought worst case scenario. We were given, again, that life preserver.
As personnel chairman, and without mentioning names, again, I'd like to sit down with you just to see what areas, that's all.
I would like to have a meeting off topic here with the president, with yourself, with Angela and the attorney to ensure that we are doing everything above board as we are entering uncharted.
Well, I mean, Ben could advise you of that. We don't have to give input for that. But I'd like to sit down with you, just to see, again, no names, but positions. That's all.
We can talk for.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, great, then. Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if now's the time. I'd like to ask about the 21st Century Grant. I think in January, I mentioned to you, did we apply for that?
So no, as I mentioned, no application nor any guidance has been submitted from the state regarding best of knowledge.
Well, doesn't that normally begin in
I
July?
would also probably go on record. Yeah, it normally begins in actual September, because July would be the carryover from the preceding year. It always went through July. Yes.
I thought it was the fiscal year, July through.
Yeah, they always, for whatever reason, carried it into July.
If we could check into that.
I will tell you, and this is something that, being on a legislative committee of state superintendents representing Bergen County, there is definitely going to be many cuts even at the state level.
Sure.
What we were allotted financially in the month of February, and we anticipated receiving for next school year.
That is correct.
Loud and clear, will be cut.
Yes.
So we cannot anticipate that. I'm sure some programs will see further financial.
Okay, because if we could just apply for it, they could say yes or no, that's all.
If there's an application, I'd be more than happy to submit it.
Okay, can you find out? That'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So then,
Before, if I could, I apologize, but if I could interrupt, because I need to be very clear on what I'm reporting back to the county tomorrow morning when I ask them, when I alert them and let them know that the proposed budget was not approved, and the areas that we are going to be changing in that proposed budget. So we had put forth some of the recommendations that we have spoken about, at least the areas of instruction versus support services, and a little further breakdown on how that rolls back down into salaries and stipends, benefits, operations, and maintenance. If it's going to be a mix, if we want to explore a mix other than this, we need to do so now. Otherwise, this is what I'm going to go back with to the county, and the budget to be approved in front of you will
Right, like Dr. Cirillo said,
reflect
try to
these.
do instructional, we'll start with other areas, and he has the list, and I'm sure that'll be fine.
Actually, Dr. Cirillo, would you mind just putting up that slide again? I just want to just make sure we clarify. Because obviously it did not get approved, and I believe Angela just wants to make sure that we all understand the areas that we're making the cut in.
That's correct.
And I just wanted to make
But
sure.
these are the areas that will be changed.
Right, that was on the slide.
Right, but I'm curious for myself.
Yes.
It kind of sounded like to me, Angela, that there was a bit of play, as in like, if we wanted to, could we look at other areas? So for example, it says here salaries and stipend. Obviously, it's personnel. Is there other areas that we could potentially cut in that we can reduce the salary instead?
We can discuss that, and we should discuss that for other areas. And if you look at the advertised budget, you can look at the different, that definitely has the different areas. And I know that my predecessor had referred to our budget as a bare bones budget. I've done my best. I mean, we've looked in other places to make recommendations. If you have some suggestions, we should definitely discuss them, and we can talk about those.
Okay, without getting into specifics, again, like I was trying to say, that I think that's broad enough there that we can possibly work from that. I don't think we should get specific and mentioning names, or even if you mention about, let's say, a certain teacher, certain area, it's insinuating a certain teacher, so we don't want to do that.
okay. All right, I hope that since we're able to
Thank you,
have
Dr. Matarazzo.
right, we have to really pull our belt tight. Here and there, I think you probably have to work from many different areas that,
I agree.
reduce,
by percentage or,
Right.
something like that, like whatever the way, should be done.
Please, but just, and I want to make sure that we're clear, the areas that are on that slide that Mr. Yang was referring to, the salaries, the benefits, those are the biggest areas
Yes,
of our budget.
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go into the audience participation now. And anybody wanna make a motion to go into audience
I make a
participation?
motion that we go into audience participation.
1 second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. So, how we gonna,
Yeah,
do
Ben,
this?
for the record, since this is a new format, if any member of the public would like to speak at this point, they would still have the same rights. They would still have to identify themselves, correct? If you want to go over the procedures of that, Ben?
Yes, just please identify yourself by name and address. And everybody, will have 3 minutes, per participation. You could express, your concern, you could express a question, and the board could reserve or respond with an answer.
Is there any member of the public who would like to be heard at this point?
If not, I make a motion, we close audience participation.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, so by doing this, it's been a long meeting and I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank
I
you
make a
so much.
motion- I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Good night. Stay safe and healthy.